All right, what a day. Absolutely on brand for what 49ers football has been over the past several seasons. I'm talking about highs and lows. And today the 49ers didn't even have to play a game for the fans to feel the roller coaster. Hell, even the media felt the roller coaster because I've got to cover this stuff. I'm talking videos and I'm writing articles and I'm creating analysis on social media. And today, the 49ers felt it all. Anybody who might have been bored over Monday and Tuesday during the legal tampering period, well, Wednesday brought the start of the new league year. It brought insane, and I don't want to say insane because insane means crazy, but it brought just wild optimism. And that was rooted in the whole Joey Bosa thing, which is very much still alive for the 49ers. We'll see if the Chargers end up parting ways with him. That's going to determine the way that the Joey Bosa situation proceeds. But it's still a possibility that's alive in many people's heads. That really began the day. I think people were thinking about that, and they were thinking about the new league year, and they were thinking about the different inflection points that cause roster movement, and all those points. The parade of them began today at 1:00 Pacific time, which spurred the release of Eric Armstead. Eric Armstead was the longest tenured 49er. He was the last remaining connection to the Trent Baalke era. The longest tenured 49er is now Kyle Juszczyk, who happened to take a pay cut today, a substantial one, $1.75 million. And that's probably what got the 49ers under the cap so they'd be compliant by the 1 p.m. Pacific time deadline at the start of the new league year. George Kittle's the second longest tenured 49er now. Kyle Juszczyk wins the tiebreaker because Armstead came aboard in 2015. 49ers didn't have any more 2016 players. That was DeForest Buckner. He came aboard in 2016. But in 2017, Juszczyk joined as a free agent in the first free agency class of John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan. That was in March of that season. George Kittle came aboard as a fifth-round draft pick in May of that season, or maybe late April. It was after Kyle Juszczyk came aboard. So both of these guys have been with the 49ers since 2017, but Juszczyk's just been with the team a little bit longer. And they are now the longest tenured 49ers after Eric Armstead left. And then the 49ers, they didn't technically have him as part of their team, but it felt like it for a few hours. Eric Kendricks, the former all-pro linebacker, it turns out that he had agreed the terms at about 3 a.m. Pacific time. At least that's when the news came out, courtesy Adam Schefter. The Fresno native, UCLA alum, agrees the terms of the 49ers to be their third linebacker, the guy that provides them some depth to Dre Greenlaw, who's recovering from the Achilles tear. Well, Eric Kendricks backs out of that deal before he signs. It's not official until it's official. And instead, he becomes the first outside free agent signing for the Dallas Cowboys this offseason. So when you talk about a roller coaster, consider the fact that 49ers fans were making fun of Cowboys fans. And I have to show you the picture. I sent it to my wife, Margot. 49ers fans were making fun of Cowboys fans for not signing a single free agent from outside the team. And then all of a sudden, it gets reversed when Eric Kendricks literally defects from his 49ers commitment to go and join the Cowboys. It's the kind of stuff you just can't make up here. This is the stuff that 49ers fans were laughing at, circling around Twitter earlier. The Dallas Cowboys are now the only NFL team that has yet to sign a single player from another team in free agency. You know that meme that says how it began and then how it's going? Well, this is how it began. This is how it's going. Eric Kendricks heading to the Cowboys after originally agreeing to deal with the 49ers, but he didn't sign with the 49ers. It reminds me of Randy Gregory a couple years back. Actually, this one hurt the Cowboys a couple years back, or they didn't get the player that they were trying to sign. I don't know if it hurt them because Randy Gregory's best football stayed in Dallas when he left to Denver. But Randy Gregory agreed to terms with the Cowboys, but didn't sign. And then that was during the tampering window. Then he went and actually signed with the Denver Broncos. Then the Denver Broncos traded Randy Gregory to the 49ers. By the way, that whole Randy Gregory trade, it was a pick swap. 49ers got a 7 back from the Denver Broncos, and they sent a 6 to the Broncos. That 7, the 49ers shipped it away today to trade for a big defensive tackle. They traded with the Texans to here. Let's take a look at the depth chart just so you guys have the full picture of what the 49ers did today. I love showing people the teal boxes. Those are the ones that signify who the 49ers picked up. But they picked up Malik Collins from the Texans using the pick that they got in the Randy Gregory trade. Not the last 7th rounder, their first 7th rounder. The 49ers have 2 7th rounders. So at the end of the day, now I have to take Eric Kendricks off of the depth chart. Sad day indeed for the 49ers because the linebacker market seems to have really dried up. I was talking to Mike about this before went on air. And one of the things that really has stood out to us over the past few seasons is that the linebacker play around the league has been bad. There goes Eric Kendricks. The Fresno native no longer on the depth chart. So who's going to take that 3rd linebacker spot? I think for now you've got to pencil D. Winters in there. Maybe the 49ers bring in somebody to compete. We were talking about Isaiah Simmons might be out there for San Francisco. I don't know. They got to go to plan B, plan C right now, maybe even plan D. Because the linebacker play around the league hasn't been good. The 49ers have been blessed to have Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw. Things were going so well in the Super Bowl up until the point that Dre Greenlaw got hurt. Mike has an update. He just texted me. Rayshawn Jenkins' deal with Seattle, $12 million over 2 years, was $6.6 million in year 1 per source. All right, so the 49ers weren't ready to outbid Seattle for the former Jacksonville safety. The 49ers hosted Rayshawn Jenkins for a visit, but they did not offer him $6.6 million in year 1, $12 million over 2 years. That was not going to be on the table. 49ers are happy with Jair Brown, and they're hopeful that Talanoa Hufanga comes back at full speed from the torn ACL. They're looking for depth at safety. That would be nice. They're not looking to pay somebody $12 million over 2 years. But wild day, Rayshawn Jenkins signing with Seattle, just part of it. Back to this, though. I was talking about Malik Collins. That was the trade with the Houston Texans. He is the successor to Eric Armstead, the longest tenured 49er who was released today. Jordan Elliott, they picked him up the day before. I've got a piece on all these defensive linemen coming out in the Athletic. That's going to be in the morning, so make sure you check it out. But Malik Collins is like Eric Armstead. Jordan Elliott is like Javon Kinlaw. The 49ers have essentially swapped 2 for 2. Collins probably not as good of a player when both guys are healthy as Eric Armstead, but Malik Collins has been more durable than Eric Armstead, and the 49ers have hoped to raise the floor at that defensive tackle position. And, similar thing with Jordan Elliott. I think that Javon Kinlaw, especially toward the end of this past season, started to show signs of starting to climb toward his ceiling. But remember, the several seasons before that, he struggled to stay available. Also, Kinlaw was a better pass rusher this past year than a run stopper, which was ironic. That's something we didn't expect back when the 49ers drafted him back in 2020. Jordan Elliott, the 49ers picked up from the Browns. It's actually the opposite. I think he's growing as a pass rusher, but he's a better run stopper. We talked about it. He ranked number 6 in ESPN's run stop win rate out of all defensive tackles in 2023. That's a metric the 49ers need. And I'm going to get more into this over the course of the article that's coming out tomorrow in The Athletic. So we'll be sure to show that to you. Got a surprise show tomorrow in the morning too. Won't let you know any more about it, but that's going to be at 7:45 a.m. So everybody wake up early tomorrow. I know I have you up late right now, but it's free agency. I may not sleep. I probably will. I hope that I will. I hope that nothing pops up right now. Like Eric Kendricks faking us all out. Gosh, I'm so glad now that I wasn't awake. This was and I guess, hey, I guess my streak is still alive. I talked about the fact that I had never missed a 49ers signing in the middle of the night. I had never been asleep for a 49ers signing until last night when Eric Kendricks, and that was announced at 3 a.m. by Adam Schefter. That being said, technically I haven't missed the 49ers signing because Eric Kendricks didn't actually sign and he backed out of the deal later in the day. So my streak stays alive, but I definitely wasn't awake for that one. And in retrospect, I'm happy that I wasn't, because that would have been a gigantic waste of time. Let me make sure that I covered everything today. I probably didn't. There's so much that happened. Kevin Givens. Kevin Givens is re-signed with the 49ers. So we can add him onto the depth chart. In fact, I already have. Spoiler alert, Kevin Givens is already there. I did that earlier today. I wasn't even live. But Kevin Givens, 1-year deal for the 49ers, gave him about 400 snaps last year. I've got him slated in there behind Javon Hargrave. Givens and Kalia Davis are going to be fighting for that last spot in the rotation. Drake Jackson and Robert Beal Jr. are going to be fighting for a last spot in the rotation. You can't rule out Joey Bosa yet, but he's still part of the Chargers right now. They've got to release him or trade him first before that becomes an actual possibility. It's something that we could speculate about right now, but it's not technically available just yet. By the way, the deadline for the for the Joey Bosa roster bonus is not Saturday. Over the Cap had incorrectly listed it as Saturday, March 16th. It's actually Friday, 2 days from now, March 15th. That's when the Chargers would owe Joey Bosa $7 million. So if they don't want him on the team next year, they've got to get rid of him either through a trade or through a release by Friday before that bonus kicks in. So we'll be on big time Joey Bosa watch tomorrow. And people ask, where would he fit? Well, where wouldn't he fit? I mean, if you get that guy healthy, then obviously he'd be opposite Nick Bosa at the end spot. You'd have Leonard Floyd playing more of I would say a pass rush specialist role. You might even have Floyd come in, rush from the inside on some snaps. I mean, Floyd, he's got that long, narrower frame, which I think he could use to his advantage against guards. And he's great on cleanup duty too. Just tremendous motor. You'd find a way to make it work. Floyd hasn't been an every down guy in a couple seasons now. Floyd's down to about 600 snaps a year. With the Rams, he was an 1,100 snap a year kind of guy. Obviously, you would want Hargrave out there. Malik Collins has been a good pass rusher as well. Not quite as good as Armstead and Hargrave, but top 12 in pass rush win rate. Jordan Elliott, I think more of your rundown kind of player. If you did pick up somebody like Joey Bosa, it pushes somebody like Robert Beal into a very heavy depth role. It pushes somebody like Drake Jackson into a very heavy depth role. But then you realize that not everybody's going to stay healthy throughout the whole season. Then you realize that depth is a really nice thing to have if you're the 49ers, which is why I think at the right price, they'd be absolutely interested in somebody like Joey Bosa. But as of right now, all of the 49ers outside signings have come in the defensive line room. And I talked about it so much already, and I could delve into it more. It's simple supply and demand. The 49ers are looking to buy defensive linemen, and they'll be looking to draft offensive linemen. There'll be exceptions to both of those rules. I wouldn't be surprised if they drafted a D lineman too. I wouldn't be surprised if they signed an offensive lineman, but they're going to be really looking for value at all of these positions, as they should. O-line mediocrity is way more expensive than D-line mediocrity, because there's fewer competent offensive linemen with the way that the game has gone. So the 49ers have decided to play this the way that a businessman would play it. They've decided to go out and try to procure the offensive linemen where they're not as expensive, where they're getting better ROI, better bang for your buck. And meanwhile, when you're looking at the market for defensive linemen, I think there's pretty damn good bang for your buck in free agency with the proliferation of that position. So that's been part of what I've learned over the last couple days, but it really was solidified in my head today. Speaking of offensive linemen, Matt Pryor signed with the Bears, 1-year deal. That was the 49ers backup right tackle this past season. He might have seen a little bit of game action. Remember, they were putting in a bunch of backups against Baltimore due to injury. But Matt Pryor heads to Baltimore, to Chicago, to the Bears. We'll see what happens with his play time, but he didn't see much with the 49ers. He was not under contract for 2024, so no, I did not have him on this spreadsheet. Obviously, earlier in the day, Kyle Juszczyk, that was a big deal for the 49ers, took that pay cut. It's the pay cut that, Eric Armstead's pay cut would have been bigger. That one they're probably asking him to take a $8 million pay cut, but Kyle Juszczyk, $1.75 million, remains the game's highest paid fullback, but helps the 49ers get under the salary cap. Team move from Kyle Juszczyk. That's what happened today. Just ran through it all. Perfect little 15-minute show. What a wild day in 49ers land. I'll be up early again tomorrow. We'll be on Joey Bosa watch tomorrow. We could put that up on the screen again. Joey Bosa next? I don't know. Likely, maybe not. Possible? I think so. We took a look at the 49ers depth today. There's a big piece dropping on The Athletic in the morning about that defensive line and the snaps the 49ers are trying to replace. And I'll start theorizing more about the offensive line and how I think the 49ers will attack that in the draft. But football team went through some drama today. They went through some highs. They went through some lows. They said goodbye to their longest tenured player. They said hello, and then they said goodbye, like the Beatles song, to Eric Kendricks. They made a big trade for Malik Collins to replace Eric Armstead. They negotiated a pay cut successfully with one of their longest tenured players. Their longest tenured player now, Kyle Juszczyk, who replaced Eric Armstead as the longest tenured player. I mean, it was a whirlwind of the day. A lot happened for the San Francisco 49ers, and they still have a lot of spots to fill on the roster. So everybody get some good sleep. Hopefully this ends your day on a good note. We'll talk to you soon.